This is the Ibarra edition of Don Quixote by Cervantes. I'm Pom Harrington and I'm the owner of Peter Harrington Books. So let me show you this set. Now, Don Quixote is arguably one of the most famous novels of all time, certainly the most famous Spanish novel. It was first published in 1605. I'm going to open this up. And came out in two parts. Second part was published in 1615 in Madrid. And the book was pirated and printed throughout Europe and was a massive success. Now, why this edition? Why do we want this one? This was published in 1780, and it's known as the Ibarra edition, because he's the chap that published it. And the idea of the printing was that up to this point, there hadn't really been a fine Spanish edition. The English were big fans of Don Quixote, and I'll take you to this map. And actually, before this came out, the English produced a very nice 4-volume set, and I think the Spanish got a little bit jealous, and so they set about to do this. They printed 1,600 copies, and one of the things they did was produce a map, this very fine engraved map, of the journey. And you can see there, and there's a little red line. I'm not sure I can do this with one hand, but you can see the red line of the journey going through La Mancha and up to Barcelona. So this is the first edition to have a map in it. But the other thing it's really known for is the fine engravings. They employed the best artists, the best engravers in Spain to produce this book. And, you know, the engraving actually really is fine. If I put my finger over it, I can actually feel the indentation. In fact, you can almost actually, the ink actually comes off your hand. It's so fine and beautiful. The paper is wide margined. The paper was specially commissioned and made for the publication of the book. And the book is just famously the finest produced edition of Don Quixote. In the other volumes, I'm just going to quickly flick through, but you'll see all the illustrations. I think there's 38 illustrations altogether, but they really are beautiful, the detail and the execution. Now, in keeping with beautiful printing and beautiful illustrations, the binding is very important. Now, this binding is slightly later, 1780, this is probably about 1810, but it's in full red, straight grain Morocco. I mean, this is an expensive binding to produce. This is kind of, red Morocco is kind of the most deluxe and glorious of all the bindings one could have, and clearly went into an important library of the time for a collector. The condition is immaculate. We have two book plates here. This one looks rather contemporary, 19th century English book plate, and contemporary to the book. In all, a beautiful and fine copy of the book. For more details about this and other books by Cervantes, please see the Peter Harrington website.